Did you know a young boy drowned here? He was my son. His name was Jason. And today is his birthday.
Actually, Pamela, it is my birthday.
Whoa!
That's right, it's my birthday today, January 18th. I am now 25 years of age and halfway to 50. Anyway, for my birthday, I got something a little bit special in the mail. And, again, doesn't really top the most expensive thing I've ever gotten, but it is about equal ground to the Godzilla Criterion Collection in terms of price, thanks to Amazon having a sort of sale. So this was 50% off, 50 or 56% off, and yeah, I had to jump on it. It was $101 with shipping and handling, and yeah, we are going to cut this bad boy open, and you're going to see what I got, because I am so excited and so happy I got this. This was another one on the list of things that I never thought I'd really get until, like, I was in a good financial spot. But, I was given this for my birthday. So, it works out because birthday is sort of, kind of a theme with this. And of course, if you saw the title of the video, you already know what this is. Get this bubble out of here. So, before I actually pull it out, I just like to point out that the day has been a day. It has been a day. Because, waiting for this thing... So first off, this was supposed to show up tomorrow. It's supposed to show up tomorrow. But, because it shipped early, it was out for delivery early, and was supposed to be here today between 10:30 and 1:30, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome, I better get the set up, you know, get all of this set up with all my NECA figures, my machete, my mask that I really want to replace. So I waited and waited, and then 1:30 came around and no package. So I pulled out my phone, I looked at the tracker, and it said that it switched to 2:30. I'm like, okay, I can wait an extra hour, right? So every 15 minutes, I'd like look at my phone, look at the GPS to see if it would get here sooner. And I keep looking at my phone, and then I noticed something about 30 minutes in. The truck was not moving. And I'm like, that is pretty strange. The truck's been stationary for 30 minutes. That's very weird, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm like, what's taking so long, you know? Another 30 minutes go by. It's been an hour. An hour since I last looked at the updates on my phone, and the truck still hasn't moved. I'm like, what is going on? Then about another 30 minutes go by, I look at my phone, and my heart sank. Because it said that it was now delivering, estimated, around 10 p.m. And they were bringing out another truck three towns over. Like, what happened? Did someone T-bone the truck? Did it run out of gas? Did it bust a tire? Did the driver drop dead? What happened? But as you can see, it finally got here after the new delivery person left it in a puddle, but that's neither here nor there. Wrapped in cellophane, perfectly safe. Anyway, it's finally here. I can finally talk about this. I'm really excited. Here it is. The Friday the 13th Complete Collection on Blu-ray from Scream Factory. Now, I don't have any Friday the 13th movies on Blu-ray. None. Zip. Nada. Zero. So, when I saw this, like, about 2 years ago, I'm like, oh man, I want that, but it's so pricey. Amazon, bless them, on sale, 58% off, 56% off, 50% off, whichever one. And the price dropped to $95, came to $101 with shipping, handling, and tax. And I'm like, I need to hop on this, you know? So I went like, oh my god, you're not going to believe this. This massive crazy thing is on sale. Can I have this for my birthday? And they said, you know what? It's your birthday. Go for it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my god, so pretty. Now, I know some people have their reservations about this set, mainly with the Blu-ray of Freddy vs. Jason and Friday the 13th 09. And the thing about it is that the Blu-rays for Freddy vs. Jason and Friday 09 is recycled from previous Blu-ray releases of those movies. And I will agree that it does kind of cheapen the set a little bit to know that 2 of the discs in this complete set are recycled tapes, but that's fine for me personally for 2 reasons. One, it's not the first time. When they released their Halloween set back in 2014, Scream Factory did sort of the same thing. They recycled Blu-rays for every single Halloween movie. And the reason behind that is because they had to jump through a whole bunch of legal hula hoops in order to release this complete special edition set. Like, they had to work with Universal, Dimension, Anchor Bay, all of these different distributors just to release all these movies into one set. It's the same problem that is mostly seen from the Hammer Frankenstein movies, the Hammer Dracula movies. All of them were released in the States and distributed on video by different companies who still had those rights. So, as a compromise, they agreed to reuse the discs from each corresponding company for this set. And I understand it. They wanted to get this set out for people who are fans of the franchise and who basically don't have it on Blu-ray, right? So I understand that. This, I feel like, is a smaller offender, you know? Because it's only 2 tapes. Only 2 out of the 12 movies in this set, you know? And the second reason why I can forgive this is because, like I said, I don't have any of these on Blu-ray. Even Freddy vs. Jason I don't have on Blu-ray. So to have Blu-ray copies of this, like, it's just a bonus at this point for me. Like, sure, it doesn't go with the rest of the set, but I can look past that because I finally have both of those movies on Blu-ray. So let's dig a little deeper into this set. So it comes with new 4K scans of Fridays 1 through final chapter, yes, and it also comes with 2K scans from part 5 up to Friday 09, I believe. And then of course you have your collection bonus material disc with all your special features, stuff like that, and a guidebook for the collection itself. The thing about these discs is that, much like with a lot of Scream Factory's tapes, Blu-ray tapes, they have flip covers, meaning that if you don't want the original poster for the movie as your display case, you can flip it and you can use the teaser poster that they used before the film was even finished. Like, I believe that's true for part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The rest of them, at the very least up until Jason, from part 6 to 8, these do not have flip covers. Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X do, but there's very minimal changes. So, welcome to the examination table. I wasn't really happy with how I ended my unboxing of this set, because it didn't really feel like I went in depth with it, you know? So, allow me to introduce you to the first time, my observation table, where every item that I unbox will be examined in depth, in length, on this table, that I usually keep my Freddy gloves on, but that's neither here nor there. So, we're here to talk about Friday the 13th, so that's what we're going to do. First off, art on the box, fucking love it. That's all I gotta say. It's awesome. Look at this. Now, I've seen a video or two, not going to name names, where they say that this looks too busy, that they prefer it was simplified, like the Halloween set with the pumpkin, the jack-o'-lantern, sort of like what they did with this, you know. They'd rather have this than this, but I think they did a fantastic job with the box art for this. This is fucking great. I love this. So, gonna go ahead and we're gonna pop this out. There we go. Just gonna put this on my chair. We're gonna go through them one at a time. So we're gonna start right here. Sit them up like this, maybe? No. I'll sit them sideways like this. There we go. That way we can go one at a time as we go. So first, the original Friday the 13th. And I also like to point out that at this time, I already flipped some of the covers on this to fit more my liking. In the case of, you know, spines and overall art. So this one, I have not changed. So this is the first Friday the 13th. And for Friday the 13th, part 1 through 4, the final chapter, they added, they basically brand new 4K scans of each film. And Friday the 13th, part 5 through Jason X are 2K scans. So I don't think these have been, well, these have been on Blu-ray. There was a tin, but from what I heard, it was not pretty for the discs. Anyway, so yeah, 4K scans, the first 4 movies. We have the first Friday the 13th right here. And on the inside, as you can see, we have the uncut version and the theatrical version. And I think when I got this, the theatrical version was on this side. My OCD did not allow this, so I swapped them. And on the back, something real special that they did, at least for parts 1 through 5, is that we have the teaser posters as flip covers. Look at that. That is what the poster of Friday the 13th looked like before this. Frankly, I like this one better. This one simplified. This one doesn't scream franchise. This screams franchise to me, you know? Just the familiar Friday the 13th font. You know, it's better to me. It's better. So, I'm going to go ahead. And as we go, I'm going to be putting them back in the box. So, I'll set it right here. That'll do. Alright, so next we have Friday the 13th Part 2. This is one of the first ones that I flipped on. So, the cover art, not the best. Not the best. As we open it up here, as you can see, there's no like uncut version of Friday the 13th Part 2. But in the delectable bonuses, they do add slashed scenes in some of these movies in special features. So, frankly, I like this better. It's a redux of the first poster, but the reason why I flipped to this one, I'm going to be honest, you might call me stupid, is for that Roman numeral 2 instead of the plain number 2. You might call me stupid for doing that, but that is the reason. And also, I'd like to point out that I've had a chance to watch these movies. I've watched part 1 through 6, and I plan to continue as I go. Like I said, it's been a couple days. I've been binging these movies. So yeah, Friday the and I'm gonna stroke over here. Anyway, Friday the 13th Part 2. I like to say Part 1 through 4 peak. Those are, well, not peak. Those are great, like campy slasher films. But I just want to say, I don't think they did the mystery for Friday the 13th Part 1 that well. Like, it feels like they tried to do something like what Scream did with, like, it was a whodunit murder, you know? I think what they could have done to make it a little bit better is if Mrs. Voorhees, like, was on screen more. Like, they were fixing up the camp. Literally, the plot of Friday the 13th is that they were fixing up this camp so that they can reopen it. Why not have Mrs. Voorhees aid with the refurbishment of the camp? That'll put her in more scenes and make her more of a less likely suspect, instead of just popping up at the end of the movie and people being like, haven't seen her before. It must be her. Anyway, we got Friday the 13th Part 3. I didn't flip this one, as you can plainly see, mainly because I wanted to keep the Friday the 13th font. If you look inside, you see that the font is more like the font on the actual cover rather than this red, blood red Friday the 13th Part 3. So, anyway, we have Friday the 13th Part 3 right here, which is also one of my favorites. And as you can see, this one has been remodified with its 3D. It used to be, in every single set, it used to be the blue and red glasses, like 3D, old school 3D, right? Now, it has been modified with modern 3D technology to basically function with 3D televisions. I do not have a 3D television, although now I might consider getting one, because I want to watch Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D without my eyes fucking bleeding. Anyway, here's the reverse cover. It's Jason Voorhees in his titular hockey mask, although I just noticed with the purple jacket, he kind of looks like the NES Jason Voorhees, doesn't he? Look at that. Maybe that's why in the Friday the 13th video game they made the Part 3 Jason the retro Jason skin. I don't know. But anyway, I like the cover art more, but I don't like the spine. I like the cover art a little bit more, just not the spine. Friday the 13th, the final fucking chapter. What I consider to be the second best Friday the 13th movie. And I'm sure some are saying, blasphemy, this is the best one. Well, it's not. It's a good one. It's the number 2. But it's not my favorite Friday the 13th movie. For me. So, we got the spine. Got the back. Tommy Jarvis in his fucking alien mask. Played by Corey Feldman in one of his first movie roles. In here, we have the disc. 4K scan, of course. And we have the flip cover, which is like Friday the 13th Part 2. There's just no imagery, it's just text. It's just text. And there's no change in the spine design, so I'm like, why bother fucking changing it, you know? Why bother? Why bother changing it? Anyway. Put that in there. Friday the 13th Part 4. This is another one that I flipped, and the reason is fairly simple. Go ahead and pull this out of here. Look at the cover. The cover's great, but look at the spine. It's Tommy Jarvis holding the machete. Now, if you look on the spine of the flipped, it's a hockey mask. It's the 3D hockey mask that they use for a different poster, which just begs the question why they didn't use that poster. But I don't know. But point being, I switched it because of the hockey mask, so that it blends better with Part 4, Part 6, 7, 8, you know, which all show hockey masks as the little demo image on the top of these spines. So, anyway, so this is a love it or hate it Friday the 13th movie. Personally, I've grown warmer to it. Like, spoiler alert, there's no Jason Voorhees in this movie. It's a copycat killer. But Jason Voorhees doesn't have to be there in order for it to feel like a Friday the 13th movie. It feels like a Friday the 13th movie. You know, it feels like it. Like, unlike a certain other movie that we'll get to soon. Go ahead and put that in here. Now, we have the actual best Friday the 13th movie. We have Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. This is peak Friday the 13th. This is it, Chief. This one right here is it. So, this is a 2K scan. Part 5 on up are 2K scans rather than new 4K scans than with Part 1 and 4. So, go ahead and open this up. And Friday the 13th, so this is where it kind of stops between the next trilogy that we're talking about here. Because 6 through 8 don't have flip covers because Part 6 through 8 never had demo posters. What we got was what we got. So instead of a flip cover, we got little splash pages. Look at that. Look at that right there. Yeah, this is peak Friday the 13th for me. This is the best Friday the 13th. You can't convince me otherwise. This one's it, Chief. It doesn't get better than this, in my opinion. Also, it doesn't even have my favorite Jason design. But it's the start of the supernatural zombie Jason that we all know and love today, and it's also campy. It's the most campy Friday the 13th movie you'll ever see. It is a parody of itself. It knows it's a parody of itself, and it loves every single second of it. So it cherishes it. It celebrates it. So this is Friday the 13th Part 6, the best one. Can't convince me otherwise, so we're going to go ahead and put that in there. Now, for some heartbreak. Because my thing of Friday the 13th Part 7. Now, you see this? You see the little discoloration right there? That is super glue. Which is fine, because it, again, does not have a flip cover. If it had a flip cover, I would have had more reservations about doing it, but, you know, so there's that little detail right there. But heartbreak, right. So, the plastic sleeve to hold the cover art up here came loose. I don't know if you can see that. It's just barely holding on even with the super glue. I'm thinking of grabbing like some regular clear Scotch tape and just like taping it right here so that it's clear and doesn't look, you know, like shit. Anyway. But yeah, it hurts my soul that this got damaged. I don't even know how that happened, but it did, and I tried to fix it with super glue and now it's discolored and I hate it. But yeah, so that is unfortunate. Kind of takes some value out of the set for me, but only a smidgen because this set is still fucking awesome. So we have Part 7, have the disc, 2K scan, and yeah, this one actually has my favorite like design for Jason, the torn up like monster, and it helps that this is Kane Hodder's first time playing Jason too. The goat, you know, the goat, the man who is Jason, you know. But yeah, but outside of the kills and Kane Hodder, this movie, like, I can attribute most of my problems with this movie to the MPAA because they fucking massacred this movie. And it's a shame because the only scans that we have, there's slash scenes showing the uncut kills in here, but a lot of the uncut stuff from this movie were destroyed, and that is just fucking, that's so sad because I feel like if the MPAA didn't completely massacre this film, this probably would have been one of the best Friday the 13ths, like, next to Part 6, you know? This would have been so fucking good. Like, it's not a takeaway. This is still a good Friday the 13th movie. Not the best. Has my favorite Jason in it, but my favorite design, as you can see there, the, like, broken hockey mask and the fucking rib cage exposed. But other than that, it's sad what happened to this movie. Like, completely unfair treatment. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in there now. Nice and safe. Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. The black sheep to some, but to me, y'all just have your heads up your asses. See if I can focus that. There we go. Y'all just have your heads up your asses on that one, Chief. Like, this is not the worst Friday the 13th movie. This one is unintentionally campy. Let's put it that way. That's a nice way of putting it. Where Friday the 13th Part 6 is intentionally campy, this one is unintentionally campy. Mainly because the script is just fucking crazy. And, of course, we all know the joke, oh, it's Friday the 13th on a boat, Jason barely spends any time in Manhattan, but it's New York. Friday the 13th movies aren't exactly the most expensive movies to make. You really think Friday the 13th can afford to film in New York?
Well, that's just silly. Silly, yes. Idiotic, yes.
Get the fuck out of here, man. Anyway, again, no demo poster. Never had one. So here is a splash page of Jason in front of the hockey mask advertisement billboard, which is great. But yeah, I unironically love this movie. Again, I love campy shit, man. I just love campy shit. There's nothing more to it. I just love campy movies. Nothing more, nothing less. I just love it. So, put that in here. Now, we've reached that movie, folks. Jason Goes to Hell. This is the worst Friday the 13th movie ever. Like, I know some people think this is worse than this. What? What? You're not serious, right? You're trolling, right? You think this is worse than this? Bro, y'all need some medication or something in your lives. This. Oh my god. Listen, okay, so, you know how I said earlier, Friday the 13th Part 5 doesn't need Jason because it feels like Jason is there? This one just removes Jason Voorhees entirely. Like, it feels like, with this one, it wasn't written as a Friday the 13th script. Like, it wasn't written to be Friday the 13th. It was written to be some supernatural thriller where a serial killer jumps into different people's bodies in order to resurrect himself. It sounds more like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie than a Friday the 13th movie. Imagine Freddy Krueger jumping bodies and like possessing people through their dreams in order to resurrect himself. I don't know. That sounds stupid, actually. It sounds stupid. But when you think of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, we've technically already had this premise, and it did it better! Anyway. So, this is another one of the ones that I flipped the screen on. As you can see, we have the unrated cut and the theatrical cut. I will always go unrated cut when it comes to these movies in particular. But, as you can see, the cover doesn't really have a difference. The only difference is that we actually have the movie's title on this side, Jason Goes to Hell, on the first side. On the flip side, it's just a part of the tagline. Jason goes to hell and he's not coming back. Anyway, so the reason why I flipped this one and why I flipped literally all the rest of the films is because of the spines. So, with the other ones, it made sense to have that Friday the 13th font. It made sense. But I feel like with these, it's meant to have their original fonts on the spines, you know, because this is a new era for Jason. This is when Jason was bought by New Line Cinema. So it makes sense, for me at least, to flip the spines to where, you know. But anyway, like I said, this one's a rough one. I mean, say what you will about Part 8 or hell, even Jason X. At least Jason Voorhees is on screen for more than 5 fucking minutes, you know? I mean, I don't care if he's swapping bodies. Jason Voorhees is just not in this movie. You can't convince me. He's not in this movie to me. Like, it's just people being possessed, going on killing sprees, and that's it. That's it. There is no Jason Voorhees in this movie. You can't convince me otherwise. This on the other hand, this has Jason Voorhees in it. And it is also the campiest one out of this lot. Why? One simple reason. It's Jason Voorhees in space. You know what they say, once you go to space, there's no coming back. In this case, it was kind of a lie, but still. We got Jason X here. We only have the standard cut. And kudos on Scream Factory for making their own discs. At least for these. Like, they could have recycled the discs from the tin, the metal tin Blu-ray set, but they didn't. They made their own discs, and that's cool. So, again, the main reason why I flipped the thing on this one is because, you know, the spine. I prefer the spines being their original, you know, thing. But yeah, Jason X is also one that I unironically love. It is a fun, silly, cheesy little romp through the reaches of space with Jason Voorhees. That's all there is to say. It's fun. It's just fun. There's nothing else to say about it. It's just fun. So, now this is where things get a little messy. Because as I said in my original recording, there's something special about these two. That being, the Blu-rays are recycled. So, when I said, I don't hold it against it. I don't hold it against it because there's sometimes you just need to make compromises. Like I said in my original version, my original video, all of these have brand new discs. These do not, which is why even despite the fact that these are recycled discs, I still give them kudos for at least going through the trouble of making new discs for these, because that is something that the Halloween set severely lacked. In order to release the Halloween set, they had to compromise between every single company that owned each individual film, and the only compromise was to release the set with pre-made Blu-rays from other sets. So, at least here it's only two, you know? It's only two. Now, about the flip cover on this one, yeah, I like this art more, but it's the spine. Again, it's the spine. Like this is fine. This right here is fine. I prefer if it actually said Freddy versus Jason instead of just, you know, picture of Freddy versus picture of Jason. But, you know, it's fine. It's fine. Because I just want the spine. So, I also unironically love this one too. The acting's terrible. Let's get that out of the way. The acting is terrible outside of Robert Englund. But that's not why we're here, is it? We're not here for a well-written story. We just need Freddy fighting Jason, and we just need a single reason why they're fighting, which this film delivers. And it delivers on both fronts. A reason for Freddy to want Jason, and why they fight. And the fight scenes between Freddy and Jason are fucking awesome, and you can't convince me otherwise. Also, best soundtrack out of any horror movie. Like, oh my god, El Nino, fucking Spine Shank, oh my god, Mushroom Head, Slipknot, are you, you can't, oh my god, best soundtrack of any horror movie ever. As a metalhead, this movie satisfies my needs in both horror and gore, and in fucking rockin' tunes. So, Freddy vs. Jason, love this movie, moving on. Now, the remake. Once again, as you can see, it is so blatantly recycled. Look at that fucking Blu-ray stamp right there. But it's the killer cut, which is good. And again, swapped for spine reasons. Which, even then, I kind of prefer the lone hockey mask in the shadows anyway. Like, that's perfect for this movie. So we got the original spine there. We got, you know, backside. Yeah, I don't really have much to say. Like, the only thing I can say is that Platinum Dunes was on a good run with their remakes. Like, they struck gold with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they kind of stumbled a little bit with The Hitcher, but then comes this motherfucker, and it feels like Friday the 13th. It has everything, every trope, every need, you know? This is a welcome Friday the 13th movie in the fact that it feels like Friday the 13th. So I like this. It's just a damn shame that they ruined it by releasing this piece of shit. This was the murder of Platinum Dunes remakes. This one right here. This one killed it. This one, oh my god, if I could burn a movie, it'd be this one. Oh my god. But yeah, I like this one. I do. I like this one. Now, as you can see, there is one disc left, and this one is the bonus content the bonus content disc, which I think has all of this. No, okay. So which holds new interviews with composer Harry Manfredini, new location featurette, return to Crystal Lake, the Friday the 13th making, the Friday the 13th Chronicles, secrets galore behind the gore, and 2 full documentaries, including Slice and Dice, the slasher film forever, and Scream Queens, Horror Heroines Exposed. They also have Crystal Lake Victims Tell All, Tales from the Cutting Room, Friday, Artifacts and Collectibles, and Jason Forever. I don't know most of these. I have seen these 2 documentaries, though. Those are good documentaries. But I think this is a good time to mention that if you have all of these movies right here, you basically have the entirety of the His Name is Jason documentary. Basically, you don't have every single piece, but at least you pretty much have every single segment from His Name is Jason in each disc. And also, something that I find really cool is that Friday the 13th Part 1 through 6, there is a police siren outside. Try to ignore it. Friday the 13th Part 1 through 6 holds the fan film project Lost Tales from Camp Blood, which I was excited to have. A lot of people trash on it because technically it's not Jason Voorhees, but it feels like a Friday the 13th like property. It does. It does. Not just with Harry Manfredini's recycled score in it, which some might see as a negative, but I see it as a plus. I shook the camera there, my bad. But also because the violence is perfect. It is. The violence is perfect in it. But anyway, we're not going to talk about that. So yeah, we have the bonus materials right here. I'm going to go ahead, put that in there. And the last little piece we have here is an essay on every Friday the 13th ever made in a booklet. So if you want some behind the scenes little nibbly nuggets, it's in this book right here. So and put that in there too, hopefully without busting the book. There we go. So yeah, that is the Friday the 13th collection. And before I recorded this, it was just announced that there is a remake, another remake of Friday the 13th in the works. Like, Friday the 13th finally reaches 13. It finally reaches 13. But we got 12 movies here. It finally reached 13. And Halloween beat it to 13 before it could. Ain't that funny? Okay, anyway. Friday the 13th finally reaches 13. I'll be damned. But anyway. So, yeah. This has been the complete Friday the 13th box set. From Scream Factory. I fucking love it. I love this thing. And I'm proud to say that I have every Friday the 13th on Blu-ray. I love it. And cherish it. But we're not done yet. That's right, folks. I still have one more package coming. This was a birthday gift. What I have coming is something I bought myself. And let me tell you, it's a groovy little set.